Hey there, and welcome to another edition of Tour Confidential. I'm Ryan ASSELTA, and happy to be joined this week by Golf.com's Jeff Ritter and Alan Bastable. And guys, the PGA Tour kicked off the Florida swing in Palm Beach Gardens, where Justin Thomas wins the Honda Classic in a playoff over Luke List. Guys, his 8th career win at 24 years old for Justin Thomas, 7th win in 31 starts, Jeff. This is the Player of the Year a year ago, the FedEx Cup champion. Are we in the midst of a repeat type of performance year for JT?
Well, okay, repeat performance. But coming into this year, I took the under on JT, repeating this year. Just law of averages, coming off one of the best seasons on tour since like a vintage Tiger Woods season. 6 wins, I just would have taken the under, but it's very impressive to see him already have 2 wins again in this tour season. And it's not even just the power game that impresses me anymore. It's the way he won coming down the stretch at the Honda yesterday, to manage himself on that final hole where he drove it in trouble, and then just to do the responsible pitch out and set himself up with a comfortable wedge in, stiffs the wedge and goes to the playoff. I just think I'm seeing the complete package now, as opposed to a guy who, kind of overpower courses in the mode of maybe a Dustin Johnson. There's more to his game, and I really like it.
Yeah, Alan, he talked a lot about his consistency. 7 wins in 16 months we're talking about now. This is quite the stretch. We haven't seen bunches of wins like this on tour in quite a while. What do you make of what we're seeing out of a guy who's just 24 years and 9 months old at this point?
We've barely seen it ever. I mean, he is in rarefied air. Only 2 players have won more before the age of 24. One is Jordan Spieth, who's won 11 times, and then obviously Tiger Woods. He won 24 times before turning 24, which is pretty remarkable. Justin was asked yesterday, "Are you playing better now than you were last year?" And he said, "Yeah." He says, "I feel like I'm in a better position. I'm hitting the ball better, putting better, chipping better." So it doesn't matter what Jeff and I think. Justin Thomas is telling you that he's playing better now than he was a year ago. There's no reason to think he can't do it again. I think probably the priority now is majors, right? He's, I think, played in 10 majors, only 2 top 10s. So now he's going to start making his mark at the next level. But, I think he could win 5 or 6 times, sure.
He says he's playing better than a year ago. I mean, he had 6 missed cuts last year. So far this year, his worst finish is 22nd. He goes through PGA National with 0 penalties, no drops with all those water hazards. Pretty amazing. You mentioned the majors, Alan. When you start looking ahead now, is there another major outside of the PGA, which is already won, that you think suits his game that could be next for him?
I think every major suits his game. I mean, he does everything so well. He hasn't played exceptionally well in them. I mean, again, he's only played in 10, so, at his age, he's got some time still to figure out how to play those big events well. But I can't wait for the Masters. I mean, we've already been talking about it. He's made 2 cuts there. I think he's obviously got to be on your short list of favorites. But there's a bunch of other guys right at the top of the game playing well. It's going to be a big week.
I might point to Carnoustie this year too. Tough golf course. Hondo's a tough golf course, strategic golf course. But Alan's right. I mean, he can win anywhere, but you got to love him at Augusta, and I would watch out for him at the British Open this summer as well.
That's the first time Carnoustie's ever been compared to PGA National. I can guarantee you that.
Not quite the same layout. Yeah. Another guy who handled the tough go at PGA National, Jeff, was Tiger Woods. Even par, 12th place finish in his 3rd start back in a full field event. When you saw what we got out of Tiger, a lot of birdies. Hey, he led the field in proximity. He was 3rd in driving distance. He had that 361-yard bomb the other day. What do you make of what we saw from Tiger?
I am starting to believe. How can you not? I mean, this was a huge step forward. This was an elite field, a tough golf course, and Tiger just grinded it out. I mean, there was no quit, there was no give up, and there's also that speed, and like you cited the stats, that's coming back, not just in terms of his heart and his will, but he's able to keep up with these young guys. He's hitting it out there with them. His irons are dialing in, leading the field in proximity. Where did that even come from? So, I mean, we talked about you don't want to get too far ahead of yourself because he's 1 week ago, he missed the cut and looked pretty bad at Riviera. I don't think this is going to be a straight line back to the top of the game, but certainly you look at him differently today than you did a week ago, and I look at him as a guy who's ready to at least be a factor, a fairly consistent factor on tour, and that's far ahead of where we were just a few months ago.
Alan, he talked a lot about progress. When you look at the stats, I mean, greens in regulation were 66%. That's almost 70% higher than a week ago at Riviera. Same thing with his accuracy off the tee. Have your expectations now, after 3 events, risen a bit with Tiger?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's fun watching this comeback. You learn something different with each event, right? You know, the big thing he's got to get sorted is obviously the driving accuracy. That and sort of limiting the damage when he does get into trouble. Big numbers have really been costing him. I mean, it's true of all of us. If you can eliminate those double bogeys, you're going to put yourself in a much better spot. But ultimately, I think that's what he's got to get his head around. Clearly, he can make birdies. He's hitting it close to the hole, as Jeff alluded to. The chipping seems to be sorted. Making putts, every time I seem to look up, he was on a green, draining a 10, 12, 15 footer. So if he can get those big numbers off his card, I think there's no reason he's not going to win this year.
There's a book he could consider reading. It's called The Big Miss. I don't know if you heard of that. Maybe
No, who wrote that?
Is
that Haney guy that wrote that one? Yeah. I want to run a quote by you guys, because when we see Tiger, clearly the short game's still there. I mean, how many times did he make a 7-8 foot putt for par just to grind it out? But he talked about his swing yesterday and how he can't do what he used to do, and he seems okay with that, Alan, saying, I'm getting more accustomed to it. I'm very pleased about what's transpired, especially this week. So each time I go out, I'm getting better. I'm getting a feel for my playing senses, also getting a rhythm of the rounds. This sounds like a guy who's coming to peace with where he's at with his swing right now, doesn't it?
But can't do what he used to. His club head speed is like 122 miles per hour. He's literally longer, or he was this week, than anybody out there within, or top 2 in driving distance. His explosiveness seems to be there. He's not like bunting it out there with 3-wood or hitting stingers on every hole. He can blast it out there, and I mean, clearly he feels like he's in a little bit different place. But just watching him, he's getting after it with every shot, and I think that was a big concern coming back with the fuse back. How's he going to hold up when he has to really get after it and hit drivers for 4 days in a row? He's just fine. So, Tiger's in a good spot.
When he takes those swings, do you find yourself, when he really goes after it though, do you still kind of do you just watch him a little bit more and just kind of say, oh, is he okay? I'm still having PTSD from the past comebacks where I'll kind of stop and go, oh man.
I'm with you. I've seen him a few times when he got fired up and was upset about a shot and like slammed his foot down. I'm like, whoa, don't stop too much there. You don't want to throw out the back again, but you're almost waiting for the other shoe to drop when it comes to him sometimes at the back.
So far, so good.
I was cleaning out my garage yesterday afternoon, and I ran in. I saw that he had made 8 birdies or 3 birdies in the first 8 holes. At that point, I want to see every shot he hits. I mean, it's just like it used to be. It's like it's must see. There's no other player. I don't care if Justin Thomas was winning by 12 yesterday. I'm racing back in to see every shot this guy hits. So it's pretty great.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement. It's been pretty fun watching him, and a lot more to come. We will likely see him at Bay Hill in a couple more weeks, and then the Masters just 6 weeks away, guys. Alan, Jeff, thanks so much for being with us, and thanks to you for joining us on another edition of Tour Confidential. Be sure to join us next week right here on Golf.com.